Hello and welcome to this episode of Break Panel Sports. I'm John, joined alongside Joel. Today we have a conversation about the Boston Celtic Invitational, otherwise known as the NBA playoffs. This is Break Panel Sports. Here alongside Joel. How we doing?
Not too great. You already know that, but
Yeah, Knicks fan Joel. Knicks fan Joel.
yeah. Well, okay. I can't say I'm disappointed. Okay, I really can't. I didn't think they were gonna make it this far. I really did not.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, had they had won yesterday, I feel like they were gonna get killed by Boston. I really felt like they were gonna get killed. So I feel like the game was over by like the first quarter. The first quarter of the game was over. But yeah, well, got the conference championship games to be looking forward to now. I cannot wait for Boston to kill Indiana though.
We're ready. I feel like you got to give the eulogy to the New York Knicks. We're going to preview the conference finals. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about it. Like you said, Boston's probably going to destroy Indiana. I don't think we
Yeah.
have much to talk about with Indiana and the Celtics series. I am a
Not
Celtics
really.
guy, but I think it's just kind of just waiting. We're already talking about the Timberwolves and Mavericks. Who's going to play the Celtics? So
Honestly, yeah.
so that's what we're talking about. I feel like again you have to give your eulogy. Let's talk about the Knicks though. Let's talk about some of the teams that got eliminated
Sure, let's go.
this past weekend. I got to talk about it. I think I agree with you though with the Knicks. As a non-Knicks fan, I don't hate the Knicks. I've never had really animosity towards the Knicks. I've always disliked Philadelphia more. I've always disliked the Lakers more. I've always had a kind of I also know too many Knicks fans to not like the Knicks. So I respect the heck out of what the Knicks have done. And you look at it, right? A lot of teams are disappointed when you don't win a championship. But the Knicks had not reached this point in so long. Not really
Right.
reached playoff success, won a series in so long. And then had a series like that as well. You were a game away from the conference finals. That is something to be proud of. Um, and again, the expectations were not this at all. The expectations for Josh Hart was not to become a double-digit rebounder in the playoffs. That was not the expectation, but they exceeded all
Mhm.
expectations. And this is a team that healthy could have made it all the way to the NBA Finals. And I'll give you that. I still think Boston is a better team, even when you put them both at their healthiest. But there's a lot to build on here when it
Mhm.
comes to the New York Knicks. And I'll give you the floor to take care of the rest.
I will say one thing I am looking forward to. It's kind of under the radar because this draft class is kind of weak, but the Knicks do have 2 first-round picks.
Yep.
They have 24 and they have 25, which I do think, even though it's kind of like nothing, it's not nothing at the same time. I do think you could do something with that if you want to package that in some sort of trade. I have no clue what they're going to do with Julius Randle. I'll be the first to tell you, I have no clue what they're going to do with him. If they trade him, they trade him. If they don't, I don't know how it's going to look. That's a whole nother discussion. But the future of the Knicks, I do think is okay. I saw like Draymond Green and a few other people comparing this Knicks team to like the 2020 Atlanta Hawks and like those one run teams. I don't view that at all. I do not view that at all. I look at this team, I'm like, everyone right now is pretty much in their prime. Everyone is gonna everyone is already like extended long-term deals, except for OG Anunoby, who has a player option. Seems like he wants to stay here. Isaiah Hartenstein wants to stay here. If they could work out some sort of deal, I would love that. If this team is fully healthy, they can go even farther. I saw a clip, Josh Hart yesterday after the game, not angrily, but he was yelling at OG Anunoby and Isaiah Hartenstein, basically saying, "You both better resign this offseason. Like you both better be back here." And that's not to like hate on them or anything. He's basically saying, like, listen, we could win. We could absolutely win. And you guys better be back here. And I agree with him. I would love to see them back here. But I think that just shows like how much this team believes in themselves, you know? And even this year, looking at all the hits of injuries that they took, I don't want to list them all. You could see all of them for yourselves. Like the entire starting lineup was gone. But when it was all said and done, the entire starting lineup was gone. It's like even with that, they were still competing all the way to the end. This team believes in themselves. So I don't think this is the last that we're going to see of this team. I don't think it was like a fairy tale run by any means necessary. I expect big things for the future for the Knicks. That's really all I got to say for them.
They've got to build on young talent. They got to keep building around Jalen Brunson. I think Julius Randle has to go no matter what because you
He
built the
could, yeah,
chemistry. You built the chemistry without him. I think throwing him back in there throws everything off because he is a ball dominant player, in my opinion. Unless if he shifts to a more of a bruiser like he was with the Lakers or the Pelicans, your team's going to be thrown off by Julius Randle coming back in. It will be. I don't think you're the 2 seed. I think
I,
they're a better team without Julius Randle. It's weird to say that you're better with less talent, but I mean, I've said this multiple times on this show, so I don't want to beat the dead horse and just talk about
Mhm.
the same things. But I think a trade package is coming, and you can probably get a good bid for it, and also free up money to re-sign OG Anunoby.
I don't know what they would get for Randall though. I just don't like.
Right? What's the proper value for a Julius
Yeah,
Randle at this
I would
point?
even because the thing is like if you just look at him on paper, the guy's what a 3-time All-Star. He's made All NBA twice. Like he's a great player,
Right?
but we clown on him a lot because there are moments when he acts like an idiot on the
Yep.
court, which is absolutely true. But so yeah, it's like you take the good with the bad with Randall. It's like which side of Randall are you getting? The guy who's selfish and gets a bunch of turnovers and acts like a Beyblade,
Yeah.
or are you gonna get the guy who randomly will drop 45 on you with like 15 boards and you're like, how did this happen?
Right.
Like like when did he get this good? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. So I think, but your star is clearly Jalen Brunson. New York Knicks fans
Yeah.
believe he is a superstar. So at that point, go let him be a superstar. I think Brunson does not need Julius Randle. Unless if Julius Randle is willing to accept a different role and have a different style of play, which I don't think he will, because he can probably get some money from somebody else to play a bigger role like
Mhm.
he wants to and get the ball. Um, he either has to fit some kind of big three situation or he's not going to fit with his team. That's up to Tibbs. It's up to Tibbs to figure it out.
I cannot tell you how mad I'm going to be if I get a notification saying that the Knicks are trading for Devin Booker. You don't know how
I
mad
don't think there's a prayer in the
I'm
world
gonna
that
be so mad if they do something. Because if I see that, I know that means they probably gave up DiVincenzo. They
yep.
probably gave up like Josh Hart. They probably gave up Randall. I would be so mad. I would be so mad if they did that.
I think that's my biggest question and my biggest sight is obviously you want to go get a player, especially if you lose OG. You're probably going to have to give up Dante DiVincenzo, which is huge for the chemistry of this team. I
Yeah,
think
I
I don't
can't
think
do
there's a
it.
trade. I think the Knicks are in a weird spot where their untouchables are not your usual untouchables of the
Right.
best players in the league. I think it's the Villanova guys that are untouchable and everybody else is fair game, except for maybe Isaiah Hartenstein, um, because that chemistry is so important. These guys, it's so rare to get a situation where these guys just started together and they already have 3 to 4 years of experience playing with each other and
Right.
winning with each other, winning national championships with each other. Now they're really good NBA players and a lot better NBA players than even their own damn head coach would have told you. So you got to keep that core together. You got to keep that big three together if you're the New York Knicks. But I don't know what they're going to do. They're not trading for Trae Young. I know that.
Oh my God.
That would be pretty funny.
That would be funny. I would laugh about that.
I think we need to talk a little bit about the team that beat them because we've talked a little bit before the show that we're doing it as well, but they're getting no credit because of who they have to
Absolutely not.
play. Because of who they have to play.
I was gonna say like as you were talking about, we have to talk about the team that beat them. It's like nobody else will.
Nobody else
nobody,
will.
nobody else will talk about them.
Indianapolis, I got you. Okay, Indiana, you know I got you for your football team. I got to talk about these Pacers, um, and I think it's also because they beat a New York team. You
An
beat the big
injured,
market.
an injured
Injured.
New York
You
team.
still beat the Knicks. You still beat the Knicks. You beat the hard nosed Knicks team. They weren't injured at the beginning of the series when he went down 0-2, though. So I don't know. But game 3 and 4, they were fairly healthy. So we'll see. But I think Tyrese Halliburton is getting an unnecessary amount of disrespect. That guy is a top 3 point guard in the NBA, has some of the best potential of anybody in the NBA, has the best, great size for a guard. I think he'll be up there with Shea. He can guard a little bit better too. Is a bit of a better passer than Shea as well. These guys are tough. Miles Turner is all these guys are underrated. Pascal Siakam has championship experience. I don't think the Celtics should. I think we're all looking at this as kind of a doormat for the Boston Celtics. I don't think as much. I still think this is going to be a sweep if Porzingis is coming back, but I don't think it's going to be an easy sweep. I mean, the Celtics team also did lose a game to Cleveland. They lost a game to Miami without Jimmy Butler. Obviously, the Celtics are great, but this is still a tough Pacers team that just made the conference finals. I think the reason that it's going to be a sweep is because of some of their injuries, some of their players are beat up, and also because of how many games they've had to play. They've had some long
Yeah,
series. Went
they've
to
had a
six
long
in
series.
Milwaukee. Went to six in Milwaukee. Just played a game 7. The Boston Celtics have lost 2 games. They've played 10 playoff games. Well, whatever 6 plus 7 is, 13. That's how many the Pacers have played. So you get the benefit added of rest as well for the Boston Celtics. But this Pacers team, I think you said you don't think they're going to ever get back here again, do
I
you?
don't personally think so.
I think if
Like
you
like this far, I'm saying they can make
the
the playoffs,
conference finals,
obviously, but like
let me,
I don't think so.
the
I don't think
conference
they'll make it
finals,
this.
I think they can. I mean, I think Tyrese Halliburton hasn't hit a level yet. This big three is going to get another year. This is Pascal Siakam showed up in the middle of the year, and they're the conference finals. You add a few more pieces off season in the draft as well. Ben Shepherd's going to get a lot better. Obi Toppin seems like he's going to get better as well. This roster has a lot of room to grow. They have a lot of room to grow. I think they'll be better than Miami. They'll be better than Orlando and Cleveland. Yes, they were a 6 seed, but they're a lot better than their record shows as well. And I think that was obvious in the postseason. They
Here's
played
one of
two
the
beat up teams, but still.
here's one of the things that I look at when I look at the Pacers and Boston matchup. And I think I could say this for a bunch of previous years as well. It comes to a point in the playoffs where it's basically, it sounds so weird, but it's like a chess match. It really is, because it no longer comes to like, oh, like who's better, Tatum or Halliburton? Oh, who's better, Drew Holiday or Siakam? Oh, who would you want more? TJ McConnell, Peyton Pritchard. You look at the pieces that you have, it comes down to the coaches. That's what I look at. I look at Joe Mazzulla versus Rick Carlisle. That's what I'm looking at. Who can outcoach the other one? Who do you think is the better coach? That's the team that's going to win this series. And I look at Mazzulla. That I like Mazzulla a lot. And I look at just like some of the mental quirks that this guy has that not a lot of other coaches would even think about doing. That's what I think separates these two teams. The mental toughness of the team entirely and the mentality of the coaches and how they game plan. I look at Missoula, I can see a sweep coming. I'm being honest with you. I can literally see a sweep. Now,
Yeah.
if Indiana wins like one or two games, obviously I'm gonna eat my own words and be like, okay, yeah, they were tougher than I thought. But still, I think Boston should absolutely win this series. I think if Boston was to lose this series, I don't know where the Celtics would even go from here. I literally don't even know what they would do.
That'd be a bigger disappointment if the Rangers lost from a 3-0 lead.
Right. It would be. I don't even know what they would do.
They have to win this series. The Celtics should have a ticket booked to the NBA Finals. If you lose this series, they're not they can't blow it up, and you're too good
No.
to blow it up if you lose a series. But I mean, for the Celtics, how many more fires do you need under you? How many more hardships do you need to go through? How many more toughness?
How many games
tests?
did they lose? How many games did they lose?
They've lost 2 in the playoffs so far.
No, in the regular season, I mean.
Less than 18.
Yeah, right.
60 something games. We look at this team as the 49ers of the NBA. And even the Niners haven't gotten that championship yet. But to reach the conference finals as many times, to have this much playoff experience, right? We talk about the Niners, they've had different players all over the place. You still have the same core. Your same best player, Tatum and Brown, have been trying it year after year after year. You made an NBA Finals. You have a different core. It's a different team. This team's better than it was last year. Sure, the chemistry might be a little bit different. Sure, Kristaps Porzingis might be hurt. But you have to go get it done. The Celtics have not looked as dominant as you'd expect a 1 seed of this caliber to be.
Probably not. No.
Have looked as good as a team that you think is just going to steamroll everybody. You lose a game to Cleveland on your own home court. They're not as good at home. You have to sweep Indiana. You have to sweep Indiana. You have no choice because on the other side, you've got a dogfight going on. You're going to get the advantage in the NBA Finals if you can end this series quickly of 2 teams that are going to go at it for a while. I've gone through a long series as well.
Speaking of Dallas and Minnesota, right?
Right.
When I look at these two teams, I don't get me wrong. I think both of these teams are the 2 hottest teams in the NBA. That's the way I look at it. Whoever goes on to the finals, whether it's Dallas or Minnesota, I think they're kind of on par with each other. Whoever makes it to the NBA Finals, I feel like, again, Boston should absolutely win that series. Maybe not a sweep, but I think they should win in 6.
They have to. The Celtics, I think the team under the most pressure is Boston.
Yeah, they have to be.
It's by far. The Timberwolves losing the finals. You're a young team. You got young Anthony Edwards. You'll be back here. Luka Doncic is young. He'll be back here. The Celtics. What's wrong?
Can you really say they're all going to be back here within the next 2-3 years?
But they'll be back. This team will be together. It's the same team that won that many games. They'll be the 1 seed again. But for Celtics fans, it's just You don't even get excited about winning in the playoffs anymore. You don't get excited about moving on to the next round because you've just seen it so many times. Eastern Conference Finals, Eastern Conference Finals, Eastern Conference Finals.
Because when you think about like their peak, I want to say, right? How many years really does Drew Holiday have?
He's on a 3-year deal. He's got probably 1 or 2 more years left of being Drew Holiday.
That's what I mean. Like
Who
I
knows
understand
what
he's
the
had an
longevity of Kristaps Porzingis is with his injury history?
exactly.
Who
You
knows?
know,
Al Horford's
Al
going to be
Horford.
gone probably after this year. So where do you go? The Celtics have done a great job replenishing every time, and they get stars, they get players, they got guys waiting in the wings. But obviously, you lose Bro Will last offseason as well. They've got some young players. I like O'Shea Brissett. They picked them up. I like Jordan Walsh coming out of the G League soon.
Don't you have Luke Cornett?
Shout out
They
to
have
Luke
him.
Cornett, man.
Yeah,
Shout out to
they
Luke
still have
Cornett.
Luke. I only mention him because he was on other teams where that guy wasn't even playing at all, and now he comes to Boston, and all of a sudden I see him playing in the playoffs. I'm like, wow, Luke Cornett's actually playing,
He's playing well. He's playing really
and
well.
he's playing well. That's what I mean.
That-
When you put on that Celtics jersey, your aura goes up by like 20%.
Something changes.
Something changes.
Let's before we get into that Mavs T-Wolves, let's talk about the Nuggets just a little bit. I think
Disappointing.
and then we'll get to the Thunder. Yes, it's disappointing to me, sure, but I think if you're a Nuggets fan, yes, you're sad. Your team lost in the playoffs, but you got back to the second round. You got to a game 7. You showed you can still win. This wasn't a fluke last year. I think that's obvious now. You lost to a fadeaway from Rudy Gobert.
That was crazy. You saw that shot?
That upped his aura.
Yeah, right.
What are we doing? So it just wasn't the Nuggets year. And that's going to happen. You still have the core. You still have great players coming in. You still have great players, and you have Jokic. You have the MVP, and he's going to stick around. I think we need to stop the he doesn't love basketball allegations.
No, come on.
I think it's funny. It's funny that to just say he just likes his horses and he wants to go ride his horses. The guy loves basketball. The guy loves basketball. It's obvious when you watch him play. Sure, in the press conference he just wants to go home, but I mean the guy just lost. And when he won the finals, he reached the mountaintop. There's nothing else left to do except go home. So that's just the Serbian mindset. The Nuggets, I don't really have any notes for you. You had to go out win the game and defend your floor, but I don't look at the offseason and say, what are you going to do now?
No.
You run it back. Jamal Murray was hurt a little bit. He was banged up. You weren't as healthy as you were last year. I have no notes for you. You just have to run it back.
And the thing is, too, like when you look at especially Game 7, like their two best players, arguably, is Anthony Edwards and Nikola Jokic. Both of them didn't play that great.
Or Jamal Murray.
Oh, no. I mean,
the two players in the series in this game.
I'm saying when you look at Jokic for Game 7.
Yeah, you said Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, right. No, yeah.
Anthony, neither of them played that well, yeah.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Neither of them played that well, because when I looked at both of them, it was like, Jokic was like, what, 1 for 10 from 3?
Yeah, Anthony Edwards looked at the stat sheet and said, yeah, I suck.
He was 6 for like 24 or something like that.
6 for 24, yeah.
It was absolutely insane. It was a slugfest out there for these guys. So, I don't know. I think despite the poor shooting performances by both teams, Denver just got unlucky and lost to the hottest team. That's what happened. And do you look at Denver and say like, oh my God, like, you know, it's over now? No, it's not. I don't think by any means it's over. They're still a great team.
Run it back.
Yeah, I'd run it back. Absolutely.
You're up by 20. You had to finish your job. I don't know why you didn't. I have a thought, Joel.
Yes.
So we looked at the Thunder and the Nuggets. They both lost.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the Western Conference Finals next year. I think they're both going to go back and go make the Western Conference Finals next year. You look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, another team that I don't have a lot of notes for, except that end of game by I can't pronounce his name, but Coach D. How about I just call him Coach D, right? Coach
Dagna. I honest.
Dagenau.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I genuinely don't. And that's disrespectful on our parts because he literally won Coach of the Year.
He won Coach. I think this is a common thing with every NBA fan.
Coach D. Let's go with that.
I can probably spell it. I can spell it right now. But I don't feel like it.
Yeah, I don't feel like it either.
Anyway, Coach D. That was the worst challenge I've seen in my life.
That was a bad challenge.
That was a bad challenge. You could have won the game.
Yeah. I don't know.
You had a timeout, you would have got a shot up, and you're the Thunder.
I remember when we saw the shot. Initially, I thought, okay, I assume they're just trying to game plan during this, thinking that he's probably not going to win and just rather just make up a game plan. But also, you could have just had the timeout.
Right, you would have been able to tie the game up, go to overtime.
Yeah, you would have just had the timeout. So
Yeah,
I don't
it
know
was a foul. It
why
was
you
clearly a
did
foul. It
that.
looked like a foul live.
Yeah,
Sure, I know all your players want to spin the finger and tell you go review it, review it. You know,
that's got to be the worst thing in the entire
you
playoffs.
have
I
every
absolutely, I hate it.
every
I
play
hate it.
we're looking to spin back. We're looking to spin back. We're looking to
When
spin
we were
back.
watching that game, the final 8 minutes of the game had to have taken more than a half an hour. Had to have,
It's a while. It's a
because
while.
every single layup, every single mid range, everything about this game is review. It's insane. It's
Yeah,
insane that we got to do this every time.
I
And
think
I
you should only
understand.
get one. I think if you do it like the NFL, just get one.
I feel like you should get some sort of foul or something for doing this, trying to like delay of game or something like that.
Right, and if it's
There has to
clearly,
be.
yeah, I think it's hard to because I like the fact that the challenge exists with out of bounds with everything because there are times where it's very obvious,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but
There are
I
times
think
where they're just trying to like
just get a
it's
review for the
weird.
sake of getting a review.
Yeah,
Like you know it was out of bounds. You know it was off you. Guys want
it's
to breathe.
ridiculous.
So I think yeah, I think we maybe need. Do we ban the twirl? Do we ban the twirl?
You gotta do some sort of technical foul or something for that. Something.
Ban
I
the
don't know.
twirl.
Ban it,
Hashtag ban the
please.
twirl.
It's ridiculous.
Let's do it. Timberwolves Mavericks. Who do you have in this series? I think it's a great one. It's gonna be really good. We got two of the
I'm
best young
pro
stars in the league.
I'm probably gonna take Dallas here.
You're taking Dallas.
I think I'm gonna take Dallas only because I look at, well, first of all, Dallas has been here before. They didn't do
Yes.
so well. They didn't do so well when they were here against
Not at
Golden
all.
State, but they have been here before. I think Luka Doncic is due for a finals appearance.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards, don't get me wrong, awesome player. He doesn't need it right now. He really doesn't need it
It's
right now.
22.
Come on. Come on. You don't need to be like, obviously it would be great, but I saw how he looked towards the end of this Denver series. And although he came up clutch at the end, I understand that. Didn't play great. He really didn't.
Right.
And for you to kind of be like, right as the post game of you guys winning game 7, I'm on Kyrie. I want Kyrie. That might be like regret, like, famous last words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before something actually goes down and you got to actually face Kyrie Irving, a guy who's been here multiple times. You
I
know what I
love
mean?
it though. I love it though.
I don't know. Yeah, I love the competitiveness of it, obviously, but I look at this and I'm like, which team do I think is due to be in the finals? I think that has to be Dallas. I would love if Minnesota win. I don't care who wins this game because I love both teams. I think a lot of people love both of these teams, but I'm probably gonna go with Dallas strictly on that.
That's fair. My question is, I'll probably go with Minnesota just to be different than you.
Sure.
I think the big man duo is going to be tough to stop. Now, if you're Dallas, the biggest question of the day. So
Okay.
obviously you have Luca. Obviously
Uh-huh.
you have Kyrie.
hmm
Are you running big? I mean, Derek Lively. Are you going to combat them with two
Well,
big men of your own, or are you going to run PJ Washington out there?
I don't think it's disrespectful to say PJ Washington, because here's the thing. Since acquiring PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford mid-season,
Right.
I didn't think about this. They got a guy from Charlotte and a guy from Washington, two of the most terrible teams in the NBA, two of the worst franchises. They got two players, and all of a sudden they go to Dallas and become stars.
Right.
They become really good players and impactful players. PJ Washington. If it wasn't for PJ Washington, Dallas wouldn't be here right now.
Not at all.
That's a fact. They would not be here right now if it wasn't for PJ Washington. And Daniel Gafford has been a menace on defense. He's been one of the best shot blockers of this entire playoffs.
Yeah.
I look at these two guys. Can they be up to par with a Karl Anthony Towns and a Rudy Gobert? I think so. I think they can. Derek Lively, another one. I didn't even mention Derek Lively. Their first round pick, top 10 pick. He's been one of the best players in the playoffs. Right now, he's been one of the best big men.
Yeah.
So
15 and 12 and 12 and 15 in the last game.
come on. I look at this team right now. I think they can put up numbers against Minnesota. And I will tell you one thing. Although I do think Dallas is going to win this series, I can 100% see them going to 7.
I think it should. I think
It should go to 7.
It should go to 7. And Boston's going to be loving it when they're sitting on their couch by the end of game 4.
Yeah, Boston's gonna be. Yeah, Boston will, at the very most they'll beat Indiana in 6. There is not.
And
That's
that's
not
a
going to.
stretch. That's and that
That
that's a
that is
and
that's a
that's a
stretch.
fumble.
Is it?
That feels like a loss if you go to 6 in that series.
That's the best I'll give Indiana.
But what I was really trying to get at is I think Derek Lively earned a start. I
Yeah.
think you need to run big against this team because they're giant. Let's just be real. I think PJ Washington could do okay against Nas Reed.
Nas Reed.
I probably rock with Daniel Gafford playing a bit more because you have to Rudy Gobert, obviously not the best offensive player, but you can't let him rim run. Yeah, he had one career fadeaway for Rudy. Most high arcing shot. Looks like me playing basketball on a Tuesday evening.
Swish.
Just throwing stuff up, somehow going in. It's tough out there. I look at the Mavericks as a team that knows how to spread out their minutes, unlike certain teams in the NBA playoffs. Well, they have their players available. They have their players available now. So
Was that a shot at us? I'm just kidding. Nah, just kidding.
it's up to you. It's up to you to decide. Shout out to them.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be the best series of the playoffs. I think that series is going to be better than whatever NBA Finals we probably get. I think the Celtics are going to have a good time.
I'm telling you, watch us talking about this right now, and then we end up getting like Minnesota would be good anyway, but
be fine. A Pacers Mavericks series.
I brought it up yesterday before the game of Minnesota Denver. I said, imagine we get a Denver and Indiana final. I would.
Too much yellow.
Too much yellow.
Way too much yellow. I'm tired of the yellow.
That would suck.
My big question as we kind of start to close things out here.
Yes.
So you have 4 superstars, in my opinion, in these playoffs. I mean, they reached the conference finals. I think that's fair to call them superstars. Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, and Anthony Edwards. And my question, I guess I have 2.
Okay.
Who would this mean more for? And I think the obvious one is who's under the most pressure to win this championship. So, but who would kind of benefit the most from it? And who's under the most pressure?
I think this is kind of the same answer because they're on the same team. Right. Jason Tatum, Boston Celtics.
You think it's both Jason Tatum?
I think it 100% Jason Tatum. I think he's, first of all, when I say that Luka Doncic is due for a finals appearance, I'm not saying he's due for a championship. The guy's still pretty young. And Jason Tatum is too. But the thing is, when you've already been to a finals and, you lose like the way you did, and you've been to the conference finals before multiple times.
Yep.
Yeah, now it's multiple. I look at Jason Tatum and I'm like, man, we're going to be having these discussions late, 20 years down the line where we're talking about Jason Tatum. It's like, oh yeah, he made the finals all these times, but he never won a ring. Won a ring. It's going to come down to this ring conversation. You got to win. Not to mention, and this is when it comes to the second part of your question, you guys are the best team in the NBA.
Yeah.
You're literally the best team in the NBA. You look at the past couple years, it's like Denver last year. Yeah, I think they were the best team in the NBA and they won the championship. Golden State, I think they were probably like the hottest team in the NBA at that time. They won a championship. You look at, Toronto, I can keep going on. This year, I think Boston has to be due for a championship. That's why you even say, like, if you lose to Indiana, that's crazy. If you lose in the finals, I think that's still crazy. They should not lose. They really shouldn't. And Tatum being the centerpiece, I don't care what people say about Tatum being, playoff joker, all this stuff. You're the main guy. You are the Boston Celtics. Step up. Step up. You got to step up. If you don't, it's like, man, I don't even know what to do with you anymore. I don't even know what to do with you.
And all these guys are young. And Jason Tatum's the older one of the bunch.
Right.
Around
what's he 26? Oh, he's 27.
26 or 27. He might not even be that old. I'm gonna double. I think he's 26.
I thought he was 26.
He's only 19. He's 26 years old.
Oh no, yeah, he's 19. My fault.
Yeah, he's 19. He's 19. Luka's 24. Anthony Edwards 22. Halliburton's 24. Love that the young Bucks are gonna get a chance. I mean, but Jason Tatum has the experience. He's the guy that has so much playoff experience. Him and Jaylen Brown as well.
Someone's getting their first ring.
Someone's getting their first ring. Exactly.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I agree with you on the Jason Tatum end. So he's under the most pressure. He's under the most pressure by far. If Jason Tatum does not win this ring, because he's been getting a lot of slander, he's been getting a lot of hate, he's been getting a lot of pressure to go out and win an NBA championship. He has no choice at this point. But if he loses in the finals, Even in the finals, like you said, be 0-2 in the finals. I mean, you're on a Jimmy Butler path
Yeah, it's insane.
where you can get
It's
there, but
insane.
you're not going to win it. And he's not even carrying like Jimmy Butler. When his teams go to the finals, a super team, you lose to the finals, you're supposed to be an MVP candidate. They were frustrated that Jason Tatum was not an MVP candidate. Now you got to prove it wrong. You have to
You
prove that
have
you should
to.
have been an MVP candidate. He's under so much pressure, and it doesn't look like it's getting to them yet. We'll see in the Eastern Conference Finals. But when it comes to who would benefit the most, I think that changes a little bit because I still think I think if Jason Tatum wins a ring, I don't think the discussion ends there because of how good this team is and how good his teams have been. I think Jason Tatum, to prove himself to the NBA fan, has to win multiple championships. He has to win multiple because of how good his team is. I don't think it ends with one at all for Jason Tatum. But in terms of benefiting the most, you look at a 22-year-old Anthony Edwards,
I was thinking you were gonna say Anthony Edwards.
but it's not him. It's Luka
Really?
Doncic.
Oh,
It's
you
Luka
see,
to take a 5 seed to the NBA
tricked me there.
Finals and win a championship at 24 years old. Be a superstar. Finish third in MVP voting. Take a team that people didn't think were really going to go anywhere. Take a team that was on the borderline of the play-in at some point, and then take that team to the finals. Take down OKC. His path to the finals. Take it down the Clippers, and then now the Timberwolves, and probably the Boston Celtics.
Come on.
He stays at this pace. He has a chance to become one of the greatest players in the history of the National Basketball Association.
Robbed of MVP.
Stays on a triple double per year kind of pace. I don't think we talk about it enough. Luka can be the greatest player to ever play this game.
Yeah, he honestly could be.
I don't think he will become that,
He
but he's
could
gonna
be.
get close
He'll be
if he
top.
wins a championship.
I think when it's all said and done, if he wins a ring, he'll be top 10 all time.
Wins a ring, a few MVPs along the way,
Yeah.
and depending on how long he plays, because his game, I feel like he can play until he's 37 and play really well. So I think it's Luka. I think Luka benefits the most for this championship because he could be one of the greatest players to ever play this game. And it would start here. Same thing for Anthony Edwards, but I don't think I don't think this championship would kind of be at that point yet. He has to do this again. Luka's been here before. Luka's
Right.
shown he can win, and then this would be the pinnacle of that at 24. I may have the number wrong at 24, but we'll see. Please be correct. 25. He's 25. Whatever. He's just
He's
turned 25 in
25.
February. Okay, I'm sorry.
Ah,
Close
off
enough,
by a
dude.
few months.
Off by a few months.
Hmm.
Whatever. But Luka Doncic, okay, he's got 5 years until he turns 30. He's got 3 until he enters his prime athletically. Let's do it. Joel, any final
Let's
thoughts?
do it. Boston better not blow this. I
Don't
really
do
want
it.
to see. I want to see the Pacers get their butts kicked.
They have to. I think the Celtics, the last team that you want to see get your get back is probably the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
But they got you. They got you, Knicks fans.
I think they do.
Celtics and Knicks fans join together for just a few moments.
Yeah, literally. After
And then in
that,
the finals, you can hate us again.
I'm cheering for whoever. I don't even care who wins that Dallas match.
I just want everyone to have fun. Let's just have fun.
Bet responsibly.
I wish I was a neutral fan during this finals. I wish I
Oh yeah,
was.
now I am. Yeah, I could
Now
just
you
kinda...
are. I
yeah.
wish I didn't have to worry about my team because, man, I've talked about this with Celtics fans. I love Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic so much. They're much more fun to watch than my stars. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
It's pressure, isn't it? It's kind of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. I have to expect them to win, but man, do I want to see Anthony Edwards get a championship. The way he talks, the way he trash talks is so. We all say it's MJ-esque. MJ wasn't even doing this. MJ wasn't talking like this.
No, he wasn't talking like this. No,
he was not talking like this. Obviously, on social media, we see a lot more of it now, but he wasn't talking like this. So we'll see if Edwards can back up that Georgia talk. Because it's all Georgia. It's so if you know Georgia basketball a little bit, Anthony Edwards,
that guy.
That's Anthony. There's a bunch of guys that act like Anthony Edwards.
He is that guy.
Is one way to put it. Watch those high school tapes. It's fun. Jamal, thank you so much for joining me alongside this journey of this episode of this podcast here on Break Panel Sports. We're past 35 episodes now. Close again on 50.
Let's go.
We're getting there. We're close.
We're getting there.
We're moving along.
Follow us on TikTok as well and
TikTok,
Instagram.
we're gonna get those going on there. Get stuff going on there. Hopefully, TikTok doesn't shut down for us, but we'll see. We'll see about that.
We'll move to like YouTube Shorts or something.
YouTube Shorts, IG
We'll figure
Reels,
it
all the
out.
fun stuff. We'll be around. Don't you worry. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for taking the time in your morning, day, night, evening, all the above to listen to this episode of Break Panel Sports. I've been John, joined alongside Joel. Timberwolves Celtics is my idea of a finals. Yours is the Mavericks and the Celtics. We will see you another time. Thank you very much.